And we are. Did he freeze?
I think he did freeze.
We may have. So we're live then.
Yeah, welcome to the locker, y'all.
Carrie, take over, baby.
Well, this is my first time on the show, so I guess we can just Anthony was going to let everybody introduce himself, so I'll just go ahead. My name's Carrie Lewis. I've been podcasting over 6 years now. I run the podcast Girls Beer Sports, a conversation with girls about beer and sports and whatever else, because it's our show and we do what we want. We talk about all kinds of different sports, but college football is life to me. This time right now, it's all I do. Don't ask me to participate in your crap, because on Saturdays we watch football. I watch everything from the Sun Belt, Fun Belt, to the SEC, to everything in between.
I love that.
You know what? I like that, Carrie.
I like that too.
Like it.
Yeah, that sounds about right there.
So, Anna?
I'll go next. I knew I liked you when you said the Sun Belt, Fun Belt. I was like, that's my girl. So I'm Anna Tarullo. I co-host a show called BBN Tonight on LEX 18 here in Lexington. I don't think I can't follow up what Carrie said. I just want to retweet everything she said, because I agree with all of it. That's all that I could get in more in depth, but that's all you need to know.
Well, my name is Fred White. I'm a former volunteer. Actually, no, I am a volunteer.
There you go. I was gonna correct you on that.
We don't do former at UT. We're current as well. So part of the 1998 National Championship team, as well as 97 SEC and 98 SEC championship teams. Played a little professional sports as well, but I am now an all-state agent on All-State Agency out of Atlanta. Do a lot of sports and podcast stuff as well. A diehard volunteer. VFL means ball for life. So A. White is one of my really good friends. He's like my brother. We've been rocking since college days, and also played an All-Star game together down in Florida. So he's been my dog ever since.
So yeah, I'm Jeff Coleman. I currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and as Deuce said, I'm a volunteer for life. I'm not. We're not former volunteers. We're just not active at the moment. So I'm always a volunteer though. I'm currently I'm a vice president of Fortune 50 company. I work in finance, banking, that sort of thing right now. I was at Tennessee. I played from 95 through 98. We went 45-5, 2 SEC championships, 1 national championship. Yeah, played a little bit of professional sports after that. I got hurt in the SEC championship game, kind of derailed me a little bit, but life goes on. I also have a Cold World podcast. I do special events, special occasions. We pop up, so be on the lookout. Working on something special for the Cold World podcast. So appreciate y'all having me on, man. Appreciate you being here.
And I appreciate you guys for not being stunned by the bright lights of the locker. We talked about this off stage. I did not know, and it has done this to Van and myself several times. As soon as we hit the button, I freeze, and I knew it was going to be terrible. We got all these guests on here, great guests. It's going to be a great show. Van will join us at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But go back to the beginning. This is season 3, episode 33, and this is Vols for Life versus BBN. And everybody told you who they are. I'm the host, Anthony White. I first want to ask, and I'm not sure how deep you go, and Fred and I have had this conversation. Then we'll get into the real story. Fred, the question to you was, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 1 year ago. T. Martin, Peyton Manning, now we got Hendon Hooker. And Jeff, don't sit back. I need to know from you, Jeff. Carrie,
what's the question?
Is Hendon? He already told us what he thought before, and he gave a great answer when I asked him about T. Martin and Peyton Manning. It was if you're a Peyton Manning fan, you have to accept it. If you're a T. Martin fan, you had to accept it. He gave a great answer.
Yeah. So what's your question?
Well, Fred is pondering on it, but since Fred is pondering, Jeff, the best quarterback in history of Tennessee, T. Martin, Peyton Manning, or is Hendon Hooker on his way to making it the argument?
So I'm going to start. Hendon is still writing his story. Hendon is still TBD. He has a lot of in front of him and a lot of boxes to check off, and he's still work in progress. His semester isn't over with. He's still working on it. The greatest quarterback at the University of Tennessee is Peyton Manning. The best quarterback season was T. Martin because of what we ended up doing as a team. So, but Peyton, I love them both. Peyton's my classmate. I finished up with T, so they both hold a special place in my heart. But as far as for a career, Peyton's the best quarterback. But T, what he did with the pressure he did it under, coming behind the greatest quarterback at the University of Tennessee, and to do what he did that season, T didn't lose a game for us, and he won plenty of them for us. So that's why he had one of the greatest seasons. But the best quarterback is Peyton, and we'll talk about Hendon next year.
Let me ask you this before anybody else said. Let me ask you this: is there a possibility that Hendon can slide between T. Martin? And you might be Heath Schuler. You may be somebody else, but I'm assuming it's T. Martin. Can Hendon slide in between T. Martin and Peyton?
With what Hendon has in front of him and what he has already done, Hendon can go to the top. But we have to, again, let's give him an opportunity to do it first. But he has a lot in front of him. And when I said a lot in front of him, that's what I was alluding to. Not just he has a lot for our team in front of him, but he has a lot in front of him individually. Not just he's going to have statistics. Hendon is more than just stats. And I've seen him play in person. I've seen him play on TV. When you see him stand in the pocket, when you see him on the sideline, when you see him the way he carries himself, he's different than everybody else. It's just he has a different aura about him. And, Peyton had that. T had that. He has something different, and he has a lot that's in front of him for what he's done this season, who we played, who we could play. Well, who's on our schedule right now is the only people I'm worried about. But if we take care of business, there's a lot he can accomplish.
My answer is going to be a little bit different. I knew you was going to ask me that question because you asked that same question last year, and I didn't even put Hendon Hooker as being in mention for that conversation last year. This year's different. Peyton Manning is still the greatest quarterback to ever play at Tennessee, in my opinion, based on what I saw in practice every day, based on what I saw in games. And when we played other teams, having Peyton on our squad, we knew we weren't going to play anyone that was as good as he was. We just knew it because of what you already been through in practice every day. T. Martin, he was a great quarterback and did a great job for our team as a leader and also getting things done. And we won games. We won the championship. You can never take that away from T. Like Jeff said, Hendon is still writing his ticket. He's writing his history right now. Hypotheticals. I don't want to go too far and say if he does this or if he does that. I want to see him do it first, and then he could move to the top of that list. Yeah. He really could. It'd be hard to pass Peyton. I'm not gonna lie, because I played with him and I watched everything he did, and it was special. It was to the point to where Peyton he's one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen, even in the NFL. So that was amazing. I got a chance to play with Ryan Leaf in San Diego, and I remember someone on the team asking me who was better. It wasn't even close. I mean, hands down, Peyton Manning. And I had to actually say that in the locker room, and I hated to say that as a rookie, but I had to. It was the truth. But Hendon Hooker, man, he has a lot of things that's going to go his way. He can run. He plays in an offense that's wide open. They use every inch of the football field, and those things help him. He has 4 wide receivers that can go get it. I mean, literally can go get it. So it makes his opportunity a little bit different. And then you know yourself, the game has changed since when we played and when Peyton and T and those guys played. You can't hit the quarterbacks like you used to. They protect them a little bit different than what they did back when we played. But I don't take anything away from what Hendon Hooker is doing right now. You guys also have a good quarterback over there at Kentucky, so he's a good one also.
And Hendon is calling he's calling his own plays too. Yeah, they've opened the playbook. They've given him the playbook and the authority to call his own plays. And that's how you know up there if you've reached a certain status or not. They trust him enough to check off when he needs to or wants to.
And this is the other thing. People don't realize that Peyton Manning has a football camp, a quarterback camp. Hendon Hooker's gone to that camp every year.
Manning Academy.
Things you look at Hendon when he's in the pocket, and some of those things are Peyton. It's taught by Peyton. You can tell. It's just little things like when he's in the pocket and the rush is coming, how he can duck under, but he always squares back up. He didn't do that last year.
Can I say one thing?
That came from the Peyton Manning passing camp. So Peyton has helped him a lot with some of those things. And our coach is a quarterback. So he's done a really good job of coaching them as well.
And let me add something about that. One thing, and please don't take this and run with it. One thing I think he does right now, maybe better than Peyton did when he was in college, is the way he stands in the pocket. He doesn't, and Peyton got a bad rap for calling him happy feet. They took that to the extreme. But one thing that Hendon does really, really, really well is stand tall in that pocket. He doesn't get rattled. He keeps his eyes down the field, and he stays composed under pressure when he has time. And you can tell he has a great deep ball. He has one of the prettiest deep balls I've seen, and that's the way he stands tall in that pocket and the way he keeps his eyes down the field. And he's deliberate. He knows where the receiver is. He knows how much time he has and how much space he has, just because he's so confident and comfortable in that pocket. And he's done a great job at reading defenses too. We scheme people and get them in bad situations, and he knows it at the line of scrimmage. He can see that I've got Jalen Hyatt on a safety one-on-one. I just need to get it to him. So,
and I'm gonna go to Anna first because I know Carrie Lewis. I'm gonna go to Anna first on your thoughts, and maybe you may not be a Tennessee fan, and I'm fine with that. But Anna, before you say anything, if I was closer to Fred, I would put my hand around his shoulder and possibly his neck, because he's in practice going against Peyton Manning. He knew he was going against. I'm not mad at him for saying that because Peyton Manning is a great. But Deuce, not you, Deuce, but our Deuce. He was a problem. So don't act like because you was just going against Peyton and Manning in practice, y'all didn't know Jeff and Fred, y'all was going to go against Tim Couch, and Tim Couch might do a little damage to y'all. Don't sit there and act like Peyton was just it, and y'all didn't have no worry about. Don't do that.
Well, Couch was good, but he wasn't Peyton. I'm sorry.
And I'm going to say your coach did him no favors, put him in bad situations. Sorry, I will say that. He put him in a bad, like 98, he had him in a bad way. So, no, he was talented. But, I mean, and no offense, to say someone's not Peyton is not a put down. Like, there's not too many people that are.
Yeah.
You're talking about one of the top 5, maybe top 10 quarterbacks ever to play in the league.
Yeah. You all just said it. It's kind of hard to follow you two who played with Peyton Manning. I don't know what my opinion is going to do here, but I think when you're looking at historically, so much of Peyton Manning's legacy was once he got to the NFL. If we're talking about just their time at Tennessee, that's one thing, but I think the picture of Peyton Manning is so much bigger than when he was just at Tennessee, that he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in the National Football League. So I don't know how he's not number one. With Hendon Hooker, I mean, he's great. I haven't watched much T. Martin. I'm not gonna lie to you, but Hendon's great. I didn't realize that he had full control of the playbook. I didn't realize that he was calling everything. So, but yeah, I'm excited by him. I think it is premature to ask that question because you don't know yet. Let's get through this weekend and then against Georgia and see. But he's certainly on an upward trajectory. But I mean, I don't think I can add too much more than Peyton Manning is number one all time in any quarterback battle.
And Carrie, I will say this before you answer. And Jeff, don't get mad at me because me and Fred have talked off air. We talked on last time he was on here. Coach, a quarterback having autonomy to call whatever they want to sometimes bite you in the ass. And I was told by a little birdie that Peyton might be back there calling some stuff on his own, freelancing. Hey, when a pitcher give you a catcher give you the signal and the pitcher wave it off. Nah, we ain't doing that. Give me something else.
freelancing.
That might, hey, Jeff, that may be why you don't have two of them chips.
I'm not gonna get mad at you because that's accurate. And I'll go directly to. You probably did it off camera. I'll do it right now. It was a Florida game where that happened, and it bit us in the ass. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Hendon's doing it a little bit different right now, but yeah, doing what you want to do is sometimes, when you have bigger aspirations, you have Heisman, you have this monkey on your back. I need to get them off my back. I want to be the guy to do it. Sometimes leads you to situations like that to where, you may not have, let's run that play that the coach called, the actual run play that the coach called, and let's, get out here and punt it if we need to. But yeah, I'm not mad at all. That's an accurate statement.
Let me say this one thing about Peyton real quick, and we'll get out the Peyton situation. We can move somewhere else with it. I watched Peyton do something as a DB in practice every day that he never did in the game in college. But as soon as he touched the football field in the NFL, he used it. It was called the back shoulder fade that every quarterback tries to do now.
Yeah.
He was perfecting that in college against us. We had to try to defend that in college every day in practice. He came up with an idea and he started throwing it. He never threw it in the game, not one time in college. When he got to the NFL, he used it and it worked. Now everyone does the back shoulder fade. He invented that. I watched him perfect that in college, though. That tells me, that's why I look at him and say, man, he's one of the top 5 of my book.
Can I take another 2 minutes? I know, and I don't mean to take up. I know we have another guest to answer, but I do want to wrap up the Peyton conversation. I think this is important. If you will just indulge me for a moment, because Peyton, the thing that's so special about him is how smart he is. When we were out running around doing whatever in college, Peyton was over there watching film. He was dedicated to the playbook in the game. That was first and foremost one thing I noticed about him that stood out. Because honestly, when we came in our class, Brandon Stewart, and my point is, Peyton's not the most physically gifted quarterback I've ever seen. Brandon Stewart was more physically gifted than him. They came in at the same time. I don't know if Brandon ever opened his playbook outside of being in the classroom, but he ended up going to Texas A&M, had a pretty good career. Brandon was supremely talented, but just didn't have that acumen and that dedication to the game that Peyton had. We would give, Eli came up, they would throw in the summer at the time, and Eli threw a prettier ball when he was like 14, 13. Peyton was throwing ducks, but it was where it was supposed to be because he knew where everyone's supposed to be. He wasn't the most physically gifted. He just had a mind and a dedication and a film. He could break down film and understand film and what everybody was doing to a point to where, like, I know Deuce was talking about the back shoulder fade. He had people running wide open and across the field. He really didn't have to use it too much, and he would put the ball where he needed to put it. So, I gave the shot. I talked the truth about some of the calls and plays, but everything else about him, and even that, he gets a pass for that for me. But yeah.
Carrie Lewis, what is your thoughts? Are you on the bandwagon? Everybody else, Forehead is the greatest quarterback in Tennessee history.
So let me preface this with to just say I never like to say anything nice about Tennessee. In fact, I walked out of my sister-in-law's reception when they played Rocky Top. That's how much I do not like Tennessee. However, you guys seem like nice dudes, so I will be friendly today. Peyton Manning is the Dan Marino of Tennessee. He's the greatest quarterback that ever played there that never won a championship. Now, I will say T. Martin was good, but did T. Martin have the advantage of playing with a lot of guys Peyton played with? Peerless Price was on that Tennessee team for 12 years. That dude, that guy played forever. And Hendon Hooker, he's got tremendous upside, right? And obviously he's currently showing that right now. But I also wonder, Fred, you said the game's changed, and not just, I think, in terms of on the field, but also off the field with the transfer portal and NIL stuff. Yes. And, are these guys that he's playing with now going to be the same guys that, or how many of them are going to transfer? How many transfers are they going to get in? What's the team going to look like? Maybe not, not this year, but I'm already looking, future to next year too. So I think there's a lot of mitigating factors.
and they can get paid.
Yeah, with the NIL stuff.
Are we
Yeah.
talking about the portal and NIL? I got a lot to say about that. Is that one of the questions tonight? Because I want to touch that.
Come on with it. We'll get to the game eventually. We don't normally start the show until 9 o'clock. We gave them 30 bonus minutes, so we still in bonus time.
Well, I'll make it sure. Those are two of the best things to happen to the game, maybe ever, but I know in a long time. Those two things, the transfer portal and NIL, because one thing with NIL, they thought that these kids were going to be unfocused. They were going to get paid, fall apart, not show up, not practice. You can't coach them. We haven't seen that at all. And with the transfer portal, you've seen kids that were before locked into a situation to where this may not be the right spot for me. I picked this when I was 17, 18, 19 years old. I get here. This may not be the place for me, but I was in prison before. Now people can go to where they find a place that's good for them and for the team. There's nothing negative about it. That's one of the best things to happen to sports. And you see teams that wallowed for years it's like an NFL team trying to find a franchise quarterback, where now they didn't have free agency in college football. Now you do. You can go get somebody that you can groom this young guy you signed, but I can go plug somebody in and I don't go 3-9 this year while we're waiting to go this job.
You don't have to go to junior college route either.
Right.
It's raised the tide for a lot of non-power fives too. If you look at your Sun Belts and your Macs, you've got guys that are starting there that they say came, transferred from Alabama's, LSU's. If you look at Kansas, Leopold over there at Kansas, he basically brought half the Buffalo team with him when he came to Kansas. And look at what Kansas has been able to do this year. I mean, that dude has worked the transfer portal to get where he's at Kansas.
And especially looking at quarterbacks, I mean, like 99% of the Heisman candidates, it's not an official stat, but most of them are transfers, especially quarterbacks. Look at Joe Burrow. And that's really changing the game there, especially really talented people. Justin Fields, he transferred.
Mm-hmm. The other part of that is I like the fact that they can transfer simply because coaches can leave whenever they wanted to. And say that coach recruited me, and that's the reason why I went to this school. But now he's gone. He can go coach tomorrow, but I can't leave, and I couldn't play. Now you can. I like the fact that they have that aspect of it, because you used to have to sit out and wait a year and sometimes 2 years before you could play.
Or a coach could stop you from transferring, but they had to approve you to do it. Yeah. You had to jump through hoops, and if they didn't like you or where you were going or things of that nature, they could stop you from doing it. There was nothing really right about that.
Especially so hypocritical too when you put the emphasis on student athlete and other students can transfer, however they want. How can you stop if your emphasis is on student? That's hypocritical.
Yes.
Yep. And that analogy you just read, it also applies to NIL too, because if I'm Jeff Coleman, who I'm a mathematician or I'm really good at science, and I go to University of Tennessee to do that, I can work. IBM and other people can pay me. They can compensate me for what I do based on that. So if it's just my name, image, and likeness, I know a lot of people had issues about college athletes getting paid. How are we going to afford it? How are you going to do it? It's coming out of where it's coming from. Once it's these private companies or public companies paying someone for their name, image, and likeness. I don't understand why there's still people out there who are upset, mad about that situation. I do know why they're mad, but it just doesn't make any sense for adults to act that way.
The only thing I see, I don't have an issue with it at all. I'm happy to get, because I remember being a college student and knocking on every door in the dorm trying to get a pizza. You know what I mean?
We all did.
Some change, anything for a pizza.
Let me get some breadsticks from Papa John's or something, like anything to get by.
The craziest perspective I ever had. So I'm lifelong Kentucky fan, work for a UK program now, but I'm a graduate of the University of Georgia. So my senior year, it was Todd Gurley's year, and he got suspended for signing autographs. And the craziest thing was, he had to sit for those games, but a student goes downtown in Athens and is selling free girly shirts is making money off his name.
Yeah.
That was the most ridiculous.
That is
Yeah.
That was the most
primary.
ridiculous thing I've
It
ever
It's
is.
seen.
insane. It was insane. So now I'm so happy for these guys. People ask all the time, are you bitter? You mad? It's not you. We all paved the way for, like, we had things that people before us didn't have. We just carried it down the road, and then everyone else carried it a little bit further. I'm happy for them. I'm elated for them.
But
I'm definitely happy.
now I love it for the students, and I really love the transfer portal because I really like seeing these guys getting to go to, again, like Sunbelt MAC teams, stuff like that, and actually getting to play. Because guess what? You can still get drafted out of those conferences, non-Power 5 conferences,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of good NFL players that come off of those teams, right?
Mhm.
But we're also kind of seeing the downside of this, I guess, if you want to call it that, a little bit with Texas A&M. That the wheels fell off, it fell off a cliff, and it's now caught on fire. And I'm not sure anybody has a fire
And I
extinguisher
love
to put
it.
it out. Right? You know, that even the punter is looking to transfer now at Texas A&M. And after
Yeah.
Jimbo kind of, ran his mouth a little bit.
And that just goes to show you too, with the money, people think, oh, people are just going to go where you get paid the most, where all the money is. Look at Texas A&M this year. That's not to say in like 5 to 10 years that doesn't change. It's so new, but that tells you a lot, I think, of what people were concerned about, that it's just going to be these schools with big boosters. I mean, Texas A&M example A this year.
You know, the one thing that they did that was smart though with their NIL stuff, they signed contracts for each year. So if you leave, you only get so much of that money. So you get $250, then you get another $250, then you get another $250. If you leave after 3 years, you only get the $750,000, but you owe them $100,000 back. Then if you leave if you stay for 4 years, you get the full $1 million. So they did make it to where they had an out. So if some of these guys leave, they don't owe them the $1 million. That 1 year, you only get $250.
Hold on, Fred. And I did not know this. I'm being educated here today.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I never thought, so NIL deal, and I always thought an NIL deal was for this year. And they can give you another one next year. Like they got to re-up on it next year. So the NIL deal is spread out over your 4 years.
It can be. Not everyone's doing it that way, but they did a smart thing by doing so. And the University of Tennessee, with our guy coming in, Nico, that $8 million deal is a $2 million per year. So the longer he stays, the more he gets. If he leaves before that, he doesn't get all that money.
Because how much did viewers at Texas get from Ohio State?
Like millions, over $1 million.
Yeah.
$1 million and some change.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
So
thinking the
like
same
some
thing.
of those contracts are different. But
It's
Texas
going to be
A&M did a
interesting to
good
see
job
how
of doing what they did
legislation
there.
comes out of this as time goes on. It's honestly unprecedented where they just kind of all of a sudden made the rule change. People must have been planning a little bit behind the scenes, but it is, I know it's so cliche, but the wild, wild west, it's going to be interesting 5, 10, 15 years to see what the rules are. You were talking about with different deals, just how that evolves and how big of a hand the NCAA can play in it.
I don't know they're going to be able to legislate it much. The NCAA had their chance to get control of that situation. They had 50, 60, 70 years to figure out how to compensate. Well, once we really started getting big 30, 40 years ago, they had plenty of opportunity to get right. Okay, how are we going to give a stipend or some type? And it wouldn't have taken much. That's what's crazy about it. It wouldn't have taken what players are getting right now for players to be, okay, I'm good. I'm all right. They've had plenty of opportunity to govern that, to put something in place. They kept punting it and kicking it, the can down the street. Now, Congress, they're not going to be able to do much to that. It can't put the toothpaste back in the tube now. There's not much they're going to be able to do.
Before I introduce my co-host who joined us as we started this venture, family time comes before the show. Family time comes before anything. I did want to say this, and this is more directed toward Jeff and Fred. Van already knows this because we discussed this. Carrie may need to know this. And Anna, when it comes up, some huge stuff comes down the pike in the next year, 2 years. I don't know how long you're going to stand election and media or Kentucky media, because it's going to be hard to keep you here because we ain't the biggest media brand in the country.
I'm
Jeff,
happy here. Don't worry.
There is there is a portion of the NIL deal for us four. Man, no, cool. Maybe even Carrie, because I don't know Carrie's background. But these coaches are having to recruit these kids every year because of transfer portal and name, image, and likeness. So if you got a player you happy with now, it ain't like, hey, we got him. No. So if you Fred, if you like somebody, Jeff, if you like somebody on the squad now, and it's cool, and we want to make that money, it's not really so much the money. It's not even our problem was that if we weren't happy, I wanted out. That was my thing. I was in the doghouse. Van will tell you I was in the doghouse. I don't know if you two were, but I was in the
everybody.
I didn't have that option. Our
Everybody
coach got fired. Huh?
For a little bit. Everybody's been in there for a little bit.
Yep.
Our coach got fired is what got me out of the doghouse. Otherwise, I was in the doghouse. And my point is,
he ain't lying.
My point is, now these guys can leave even if you're not in the doghouse. Mm-hmm. You didn't give me the NIL deal you told me to, or I don't know. I'm not getting enough touches. I mean, so there is another perspective to that whole NIL deal, but I am going to now introduce my Van, Carrie. Van Howes is my partner. NFL draft pick, boundary corner. And when y'all talk about all them points y'all scored on Kentucky, he was the recipient. Not me.
Hey, man, he put you out there, man.
Hey, man, 98 was rough. It was 96. Yeah.
But Van Howes is my partner, man. Breakdown extraordinary NFL cornerback. So get you up. You know Carrie, you know Anna. I mean, you probably know Jeff. Y'all on opposite sides of the ball, Jeff Coleman. And Fred, y'all both play the same position. So we'd have had him on the show before. We've been discussing, do we think Peyton Manning, and you played, Van, we missed it. Van played against Peyton Manning in high school. They were both quarterbacks. He was also a DB. But
picked him off in high school, picked him off in college. You look at him playing for pros.
Y'all lost 17. Y'all lost 17 to 14 then.
When
you picked him off in college.
No, I think we lost.
Never mind. Man.
Can I give y'all a quick compliment? I want to give, because I have something for y'all real quick. Just before I know I don't want to interrupt the show, but I do have something for y'all, like Kentucky. I have just a compliment for y'all. No, it's a real compliment.
It took him a long time. He had to breathe on it.
I'm scared.
He had to summon all that courage to say something positive.
So no. This is legit. So nobody plays a harder, like, first couple series, first quarter after you go to Kentucky on their senior day, and they're out there playing old Kentucky home, and they're doing like everybody's out there crying, and it's like that first part of the game, you have to weather that storm because they're coming to give it to you at that part of the game. That's what I love about college football, and I love about playing in the SEC. Playing down on the plains, you get to see special stuff like that at different places. And I know I was laughing, but that's really something that was special. Like it's a scene. You don't see that everywhere else. Everybody doesn't have stuff like that. Everybody has something unique. And that's what I, just loved about playing when we played.
And catching Van.
Hold on. Now, Jeff conveniently said the first quarter.
I said the first series, though.
My bad. He said the first series.
I started with the first quarter, then I peeled it back. I said
ain't that long.
So basically, if the offense goes on first, we got 3 plays because we were 3 and out anyway.
That was heavy. That first drive. It's like, boom, Peyton got sacked. They done threw a long pass. Whoever's on the field first. It's like both of those first drives. I did say first quarter, then I kind of reeled it back in. Yeah. It was, you had to weather that storm, man. I'm telling you.
For 30 seconds.
Hey, no. So piggybacking off what Jeff said, this where I'm gonna start off. We got my man Van in, so this is what I want to ask. And here's my question. I'm gonna spread it, and I told them, Van, you know our style. Y'all can throw it around. I'm not here to dictate the show, but I do want to start off with this, and it can bounce wherever we got to go with it. So the game Saturday, I think there's 3 components we're looking at. I think Tennessee, and Van has stated this on Twitter, and I've noticed that y'all like to jump out on people, then sit back and play. So is the biggest aspect making sure they don't jump out early. So shoot your guns early to make sure we be in a fist fight. 2, that we got to get to Hendon Hooker. Like, do we need to get some pressure on them? Because Alabama, with they old sassy ass is gonna sit back and just let Hyatt do whatever he want to do. Or thirdly, or is the answer get it to C-Rod? Make sure that that slows their tempo down. They got to sit on the sideline and wait for them to get back out. Because I was on a high-powered offense that we would score quick, and our defense would make sure they scored quick. So they wasn't the ones getting tired. We was one that had to keep coming up with solutions. It was just the opposite. Since Van just showed up, Van, what thinks you? Then we're gonna throw that around.
Why?
Or is it all 3 together?
Why you gotta throw your defense on the bus?
Because if you score 38, 35, 40 points,
no, look, you cannot let them jump out fast because then it makes you one-dimensional. And Tennessee defense is aggressive as hell. They are coming downhill, linebackers and all, forcing you to do something you don't want to do. If we can weather the storm, that first quarter and a half, keep it within 10 points, that defense wears down. Not because they're out of shape, not because they're not good, but when your offense, look, I think Florida had 87 plays against them. Dude, 87 plays?
A lot of plays.
That's a game and a half almost of plays. So if we can get that to happen, they're going to wear down the second half just because of the amount of plays that they're going to play. And that's how we had them last year. We just wore them down. If we can weather the storm, play as balanced as possible, that's our best chance. If we get behind and let them linebackers and defensive end pin their ear back on our O-line, it's ball game. We will get boat race.
Those 3 points, those are 3 good points. Like that, the first one about the well, so I'll go to number 2, getting the Hendon Hooker. That's one thing that hurt Alabama. He wasn't bothered much all night. You can't give him a lot of time to do that. So that is key for you guys. If we can protect and block, if we give him time to do that, I like our chances anytime. The third one about and you already hit it. Man. Last year, I think y'all had the ball 46, 47 minutes. We had the ball 13 minutes and put up 40 plus. So that gets back to the first point. One thing, if you notice and it started last year, we put so much pressure on opposing coaches to where guys go for it on 4th down. They're not used to doing it. They're being uber aggressive because they know they have to match what we're doing. Everybody did that, but Saban. Saban's like, I'm kicking my field goal. I'll see you in the 3rd or 4th quarter. I'm going to punt this ball. I'll see you later. And that's why that game was the way it was. But that you see what happened to Les Miles. You see what happened to Brian Kelly down at LSU. He got out, they were in that game until he got him out of it. And maybe other people, and those are people. And one thing I like about us, what's different this year than last year, teams that usually play at the pace that we play at can only play that way. When we need to slow it down, when our defense needs to rest, we run it and we look the same. Usually, if you see when Oregon was doing it, when other teams, when they tried to slow it down, they couldn't function. They don't look the same. We're not getting first down. We're not moving the ball, so we're turning it back over. We go fast, and then we need to slow it down. We can slow it down, and we look the same. So that's why it's difficult. I'm thinking as a defender, how do you stop that? How do you go against that? So I'm giving a Tennessee perspective, and I know Deuce, I want to hear how do you combat that? Because they do put so much pressure. They can play different ways, and we don't need the ball much to score. What do you do about it?
I think these are kind of the talking points that I've been hitting this week when I've been talking to people about this. Number one, they have to figure out a way to get pressure on Hendon Hooker while keeping everything in front, because that was Alabama's problem. Was they tried to get pressure, but they couldn't keep him in front, and Hendon Hooker was just throwing over the top of them all day long. It was, so we've got to figure out a way to create that balance by getting pressure on Hooker, but keeping everything in front. We got to run the ball. Alabama looked like they were going to start pulling away in the second half. It looked like they had worn Tennessee's defense down with the run a little bit. And then I think we've got to have some balls go our way. We've got to get some turnovers. Save for like that muffed punt, that awful muffed punt, which I still don't understand what that guy was doing. He's still walking back to Tuscaloosa right now. But, that muffed punt and a couple of bad, false start penalties and things like that. We have to have some luck too, honestly, I think, in this game, and have a couple of balls go our way in terms of a fumble or a pick or even a pick six, something like that. But the pressure and on Hendon Hooker and keeping everything in front, to me, that's one of the big keys for the defense.
Jeff, I really like your point about how Tennessee doesn't fall apart when you slow it down, because if you look at Kentucky, they just grit out these wins. And with such a tempo team like Tennessee, it's going to be interesting to see how both teams adjust and at what pace you play. So that's very interesting that you said that they don't fall apart with that. I think it's part of the genius of Brad White this year, defensive coordinator, has been his halftime adjustments. Can he bring it in the first half and not wait until you get hit with that offense in the first half and you're down in a hole? Sure, adjust at halftime, but maybe we can, come out firing on all four cylinders. But more than anything, can Kentucky put points on the board? That's what has been my main concern. I trust Brad White. I trust the defense that they can slow down Tennessee, but we'll see if the offense shows up. Which offense shows up?
I have a few things I want to touch on, and some of you guys have brought these up. And out of 131 teams, Tennessee is 121 in time of possession. So we don't need to have the ball long in order to score. But with that also being said, in order to beat Tennessee this year, you're going to have to score at least 40 points. Mm-hmm. Because regardless of who we played, we put up 40 points.
And Kentucky hasn't done that this year once.
And the other part of that is they're scoring so fast, the offense may be getting back on the field. Yeah, you're wearing down the defense, but your offenses are tired too. Yeah. If they're running the ball, they're getting tired too. So at that point, it becomes a force of wills. The other thing that no one has said yet, one of the things that made Alabama jump off sides, one of the things that made them call timeouts is they're playing in Neyland Stadium. Yeah. It is loud as it can be. Yeah. And we made them call timeouts when they did not want to call timeouts because of that crowd noise. That crowd noise is going to be just as much a factor than any other stat we are talking about. If you can make a team call timeouts when they don't want to call timeouts and they don't have them in the second quarter or the fourth quarter, that's going to be different. So that's the one thing I don't think we've paid attention to. If we were playing in Kentucky, I have different keys to the game. Mm-hmm. But my first key to the game is how do you handle the crowd noise? You can pipe as much noise as you want to in practice, but can you actually, until you're on that football field, in that stadium, while they're being that loud, it's not the same.
And we were on the field the first half of that Alabama game, and I was on the field. I remember Florida in '98. That was something different that day. It was coming from it. It was just a different feel, and that did cause, to Deuce's point, a lot of problems for Alabama, and they carried it through. They carried it through. Yeah. That's a great point.
That's the biggest. I think that's the biggest point. How do you handle the crowd noise first, and then everything else is, then we can. If you can handle the crowd noise, the next thing is okay. Run the ball, being able to stop the clock, those type of things, and take time and those type of things. But handling the clock is going to be the number one. Handling the crowd noise is going to be the number one thing to start this game.
Yeah, I wanted to hop in on what Carrie Lewis in the news and Anna said. Larry Vaught said the exact same thing you said, was Brad White is the best at making halftime adjustments. The first thing I said before we started this was Tennessee want to hop on your ass early. Yeah. So Brad White, we can't wait. We can't wait 30 minutes into the game to make adjustments because they jump on your ass. But the other thing that Carrie said was We need some opportunities. We need some mistakes. We need some help. Is Garantano still on the team?
So, let me say this about my
We're not gonna win.
He's not. He's not. But let me touch that. That's a great about the halftime adjustments because that's one thing they do make really good. Alabama made good halftime adjustments. If you look at we dropped 52 points on Alabama and we left a lot of points on the field.
At least 14.
Look, at least 14. I'm
At
thinking
least 14.
So right before the half and right the first drive of the second half, and then we missed we missed a couple throws to get us, in better field position. We had opportunities to still move it, and they still dropped 52 points. I couldn't believe. I was like, this is crazy to watch because I've seen how powered offense is, and they do it with it doesn't. I know what the effort it takes to do it, but it looks like they're not putting out a lot of effort to do it. It's not frenetic when they do it. It's just as calm and easy. And Gerald Riggs. Great. He taught, and this carried over every year. First team to 30, you have to get at least to 35. First team to 35, and like Deuce said, if you're not scoring 40 points, you're probably not going to beat this team unless they have a really, really off day, have a bunch of turnovers, and something goes really wrong. If you don't score 40 points, you're probably not going to win.
Let me say this. We conveniently forget last year. Now, last year doesn't matter, but people are talking about we can't score points. We scared. We scored 40 points once last year before Tennessee. That was the first game. We didn't score. I think we scored. LSU was after before. So we scored twice. Scored 40 against LSU. It's the same thing this year. We scored 16 points against South Carolina last year. People conveniently forget that. We scored 21 points against UT Chattanooga. People conveniently forget that. I'm going to just say this. Tennessee's defense, because of what Heupel puts them, the stress he puts them under, they are primed for giving up points. They're just primed for it. And that's what I feel like is the advantage for us. And this is what makes me feel better about this game. Florida put up 33 points on UT. Florida is not a very good offensive team. They're just not. And there are ways that with the run game you can attack them. And I think Will's going to have to, what's the word I'm going to say? Take the bubble wrap off. He's going to have to kill him. He killed him last year. And he cannot be scared. I want to save myself for three games later. No. We got to go all out this game. If you see a lane, you got to take it. That's as simple as that. I think he had 2 or 3 touchdowns last year rushing. That's what we're going to have to do. And
hold
we're
on,
going to have
man.
to take.
So can I
Running back?
Hold on, Vol Nation. Hold on, Vol Nation. I want to ask Van this cat to cat, BBN to BBN.
Yes, sir.
You saying we don't? Is it Will saving himself for next game or 2 games next?
No, it's a coach.
And we talking first round. I don't know if that's still the case. We talking first round. Will you saying give it up for a game? Am I going? You see what happened to him down in Oxford when he tried to dip his shoulder.
That didn't get him hurt. See,
I ain't saying get him hurt. He gave up the ball, the game, and a little bit of this, a little bit of this.
That happens, but
you don't want it to happen over and over again. I'm gonna show that Marshawn Lynch.
I feel like if you let Will,
hey Frank,
he
you
will
up that
put it
Marshawn
on the
Lynch
line.
film. MFer don't want to get hit and hit over
And over.
So Van, let me ask you. So let me recap what I think you just said a minute ago. So you think that because we run so many plays on offense and we're so frenetic, not frenetic, we have such a high pace on offense.
Yep.
That's where your chance is for our defense. Now, you guys don't have Bryce Young. You don't have what Richardson does at Florida. You have a great quarterback, but you don't do what he does. What they do exploits our defensive weaknesses. What your guy does not. And our front 4 and our front 7, they can get it. And that gets back to my point about I think Heupel has learned I can't do this every series. When he knows his guys needs a breather, let's slow this down a little bit. He's gotten better at that. And when we've gotten lit up, it was by Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy winner, and a guy who does things at Florida that, again, we kept losing contained. I'm not worried about losing contained to your quarterback. So that's a little bit different than Where we got hurt, I don't see that being. It's not as much of a threat of being hurt by guys with that.
I will say this though, Rodriguez, that running back, and that's the person on your team that scares the crap out of us.
I was saving him.
He's probably the most powerful running back in the SEC. He might be the best running back in the SEC. I like him a lot. He can play.
Why I don't think we have to light him up. I don't think we have to light Tennessee's defense up in order to control the ball, control the clock, and to score points. Fred, you're exactly right. Give the ball to C-Rod. That's how we do it. And right there, you're already slowing the game down a little bit, controlling the clock and controlling the ball. You don't necessarily have to light up the scoreboard, in my opinion.
Because we talked about this before the Alabama game. Leonard Little, we had this conversation. He said Alabama's they're going to run the ball. I said when, why, and how. Like it's not good. That's not what they're going to beat us with. They can take 7-8 minutes, and they better score a touchdown. If you're going to take 7-8 minutes running the ball,
you have to score a touchdown.
You better go for it. You're going to have to go for it on fourth down once or twice. You better get it, and you better score a touchdown when you do. Because if not, guess what? We're probably going to turn around and go light the scoreboard up right after you don't score that touchdown. And that's what they're doing. And I'm not just saying that as a fan. I've watched them do it, and I don't understand it myself because, again, how they do it. But that's what they've done to people consistently.
The one thing if I'm Kentucky, I'm running Rodriguez 25 plus times, and also like Jeff said, you're gonna have to score touchdowns. Field goals is not gonna get it done. You're gonna have to score touchdowns. The other thing is, we got to wrap up on this guy. I mean, they got to gang tackle him. This kid run hard. I mean, he runs like running backs back in our day. And we play.
I like us better than we did last year. Like we tackle better than last year. Last year wasn't a very good display.
True, but I will say this.
Jumped out early on this last year. That first bullseye play y'all ran, that was poured out. We came out thinking we trying to warm up. We came out thinking we was warming up, and y'all jumped out on us. And y'all had us at that point.
But I'm going to say this. I'm being honest about this kid. He going to be a first-round draft pick. Running backs don't even get drafted first round like that anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he will be a first-round draft pick.
I like him. I like him a lot.
He is a beast.
I like him a lot. Yeah.
He's a beast. You got to tackle him. You can't just hit him with your show. You got to wrap up. You got to wrap up and hold on and all that.
Is he more J. Lou or Cheese?
He more T. Hen. He more Travis Henry than J. Lou.
He more Travis Henry.
He won't have. He don't have J. Lou's speed, but he will run.
He has that. He has the trait. He has the cheat. Yeah.
Yes, he will run through you, and he does it all game long. He don't get tired.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this. This is more, and man, Jeff all over the ball. Jeff, top notch. Jeff know his thing. I've been knowing Fred for, but I want to ask Van and Fred this. And Fred, I know you don't want to give up Vol Nation secrets, but this spread they got, and Van has talked about it. I don't know, Van, if you and Van are DBs. Defensive guys, Fred's interior defensive guy, but he seems to be able to move around. They lining these dudes up damn near on the sidelines so they can see if you coming off the edge, you got to show me because you better. But we got some rangy backers. Our backers have long arms. They can get range. What is your solution to that? Is there a solution to? Is there a way to fix that, or is there a way to combat?
As a safety, I want to tell you right now, and even as a court, man, they're using the entire football field. They're making you cover every inch of the field. And that's the part that's the hardest. You don't have a lot of room for error. Right. If you make one false step, you beat because it's so much field to cover. Back in the day, if guys were inside the numbers and that type of stuff. Now, man, they're covering the entire football field. Game of inches, right? That 1 inch, half an inch could be a touchdown. But because they're doing that, it makes you cover the entire football field. You have to be very sound technically. You have to be, because if not, they don't like the scoreboard up on you. Anyone who has an offense like that uses Baylor, they do it. All those guys in the Big 12, they use the entire football field. And that's one of the things that's why they score so many points. You have to be very technically sound in order to be able to cover the entire football field like that.
So And I thought about it earlier because one as a defender, again, I'm always thinking about how do I stop Tennessee's offense right now? Is to try to, because we haven't talked about our running backs and our run game that much at all, but they hit you with certain point, and they keep you honest enough. And I said that kind of downplays them. They made big plays, hard runs, move the chains. So first thing I'm thinking as a defender, all right, I'm gonna take the run away. But how do you do that when you can't put enough people in the box to take the run away because you've got dudes standing on the sidelines lined up at receiver that you have to cover? That's what I was saying when Hooker gets to the line. A lot of times they have you beat just by alignment because you can't cut. It makes me think about we played UAB. UAB came out with these. It was a different day with these wide splits playing offensive line, and it got us out of sorts because we weren't used to playing it. We lining up. If we lined up where we're supposed to, they were gashing us in the middle. If we played the gap, they were running outside. It just gets you out of sorts when you don't see it every week and you're trying to guard something and you have world-class athletes out there that you're trying to cover. It makes it difficult. And that's whoever figures that part of it out is going to give us problems. I'm just trying to figure out how you do it.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
That's the key. If you
we truly telling you, like, we're sitting here trying to figure out how the hell
everybody been talking about.
We're looking trying to figure out how they doing this.
Yeah.
Van,
what's that? Oh, okay.
I asked you a friend.
Y'all no. Look, we have company in the locker, and we got to keep the locker clean. We got to get everybody a chance to talk. We can't talk over each other. Okay. So that. You have to stop
Carrie, because Carrie and Anna, like, what has the talk been about that piece? Because I know we don't want to give away secrets, but everybody's mentioned that thing about these wide splits and how do you guard it, and what's the chatter about that one?
I mean, I don't know, and I do want to hear Van on this. I'll let Anna talk also, but I also want to hear Van on this about how do you do that without putting corners and DBs on an island, because man, we can't do that. We're gonna get destroyed if our guys are on an island. And I like Valentine and I like some of those other dudes, but man, we can't leave them on an island. And I don't know how you do it. I really don't know.
Yeah. I even talked to defensive back coach Chris Collins yesterday after practice and kind of tried to ask him that. No concrete answers, but I don't know. We've talked about it on the show, just with your wideouts lining up like essentially on the sideline, but I haven't heard any good kind of plugins there what could work. So we've talked about it, but I think we're pretty clueless on ideas.
I'm waiting on Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin to petition the league to make you go inside. That's how they're going to stop it. Both of those two are going to cry, and Mike Leach are going to go cry to the
that making pick plays illegal.
Right. That's how they're going to stop it.
No rubbing.
I would love to hear a Mike Leach speech on that, though. Lord knows where it would go.
Oh, but man,
Van, I really am interested in your take on that. Is that how do you do this without leaving people on an island?
Well, first of all, Alabama, you can't put your damn safeties on two of the best wide receivers that Tennessee has. There's no two safeties besides probably a handful that can play from off coverage and handle guys man to man with 53 and a third yard. So that's problem number one. You just can't do that. Mm-hmm. All right. Second thing that we have an advantage of, because look, if you're on a hash and that guy is outside the numbers, you know how long a throw that is? That's a 30-plus yard throw. Okay. So there's no need for people to expand their linebacker all the way out there. If you can't read pass and get your ass out to the damn numbers before the ball gets there, you shouldn't be playing SEC football, first of all. So that's one thing. The advantage we got two guys, 6'4", 6'5", Jordan Wright and J.J. Weaver. With the length that they have, can cause a problem. You have to beat them, or not beat them. You have to hold the fort with 5 guys in the box. You can hold the fort with 5 guys in the box. You got a chance. And you can slide a 6th guy in there when they're in the boundary. See, here's the thing. If they're in the middle of the field, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible because they go both numbers outside of numbers. It's just too much room. How much of the game is played in the middle of the field? Most of the games play on the hash. When you got a hash, now you can put a 6-man in the box because that boundary linebacker is technically in the box. And if you can survive, because Tennessee does not want to run the ball. Until I see Josh Heupel run the ball 60% of the time, until that happens, until I see that, I want us to prove, I want us to say, beat us with the run.
I'm gonna tell you this: if you play 5 people in that box all game, we're gonna break the scoreboard on you. We're gonna break the scoreboard on you.
See, we're not playing at 4-3. It's a little different.
I don't care.
Because here's the thing: if you don't know, you have no idea of where that 5 is gonna be.
If you play 5 in the box, it will be good night, Irene.
Because then that way,
good night, Irene.
You're not going to be able to, because we're gonna both run it and pass it on you. We're just gonna throw it when we want to score. You're not going to have the luxury of running your offense if you leave 5 people in the box against our offense. You're not going to
have the luxury. Why won't we have the luxury to run our offense?
Because we're gonna run the ball down all the way down the field and run out. By the time you get it, it's like I have to score.
See, that's what I'm saying though. 5 men in the box is only in the middle of the field. You're gonna play in the boundary. We're gonna have 6 guys in the box. That 6th guy is in the boundary. It's a little different. When they spread that guy out on the boundary to the bottom of the numbers, he's not gonna throw a quick screen over there.
He does.
No, not from the boundary, not from the hash.
No.
So if he's able to throw a quick screen over there and we can't rally, that's a fucking problem.
It's gonna be a problem. He does exactly what you just said.
Well, for me, the way we play defense, let him throw that damn quick screen over there this year with the way we're tackling this year. I will subscribe to that. Here's the thing: you cannot stop them. We're not gonna hold them to fucking 10 points like we held Mississippi State. That ain't gonna happen. I would never say that. But for them to score 52 points on us, the way we play and minimizing dude. Alabama gave a what? 75-yard throw, 60-yard throw.
Man, hold up.
Dude, that ain't gonna happen against us.
Hold up. So if you're gonna be that aggressive on what you think is a screen, you better be right. Because if he pumped that, like, you better be right. You better let him have that screen and play off of him and give him that, because he's gonna run right past you. Do not let your guy be aggressive on the screen.
I got one.
This is what I was taught. This is what I was taught. You should be able to break a third of the distance of the pass. You should be able to break a third of the distance of the pass. Once the front hand comes off and you read and have good eye discipline, a 30-yard throw, if I'm 10 yards away, I should be able to get within a couple yards from him. Same as that corner. And the difference is you got to tackle. That safety is going to be over there. Let's say we play quarters. That safety is going to be halfway between 2 and probably the in-man line of scrimmage, probably 10 yards out of the line of scrimmage. If we can't read a screen pass that's thrown 30 yards, and we can't break on that and have 3 on 1 because they only got 1 blocker out there, that's a problem.
So you just gave me a 5 people in the box scenario again. If I just heard that right, quarters, your 2 linebackers right here. So you giving me 5 people in the box again.
6 if it's in the boundary. That's a 30-yard throw if it's in the boundary, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I got one quick question. If you got 5 people in the box, who has the quarterback?
Now that's a problem.
Nobody.
That's why I'm saying if you put 5 people in the box, it's gonna be good at Irene. I'm serious.
So now hold on.
Man,
now you got 5 men in the tackle box, right? You still got 2 outside linebackers that splitting the distance. They're not just gone, right? You still got 2 out. We play a 3-4. We still got 2 outside linebackers that have.
They're kind of gone with the RPO. They're kind of gone.
No, the outside linebackers are gone. The outside linebackers are not.
Hold on. One thing I did say from the beginning, and this is where I think Van is going, and I'm not sure how much UK film y'all watch. Our linebackers are long and rangy. So if you're talking about a regular linebacker, I know y'all play with Al Wilson was cold, but our linebackers are them jokes like 6'4" and with 7-foot wingspan. and run
And-
4-4, 4-3.
In 6 fingers. In 6 fingers.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's what
Shout
he's
out
saying.
to-
Hey, we got an extra digit. We got an extra
He said
digit.
6
Y'all ain't
fingers.
ready for.
He said 6 fingers.
That was funny.
So
He do got 6
and
fingers.
this
One
is
of
a
our
legit
players.
question. Are they Will Anderson? Are they, because he's long and rangy too?
Will Anderson hands on the ground the majority of the time.
No, he's
a little
not. He
different
stands up on the end. His hand isn't on the
No,
ground.
but what I'm saying is it's a little different. The way we play our 3-4, our outside linebackers is a little different. They are not Will Anderson. Now, I'm not going to tell you that because not one of them has a pass rushing ability Will Anderson has, not even a little bit. The difference is their length and their athleticism. We didn't have that probably the majority of last year because one of them was either hurt or the other one was hurt. We didn't play. I don't think any last year or both of them in the game. We played with a damn safety playing outside linebacker last year. And we all know you put a safety down at outside linebacker first and second down, he ain't fucking winning. Ever. If any lineman comes out, they eating him up all the time. So that's the difference, is that we got 2 outside linebackers that are rangy and long. Like I said, we're not going to hold them to 10 points. We can hold them on the 40. We got a chance. If they score 40 something, it's not good for us. And I'm going to say this, last year, they only scored 38 on us. 7 came from a pick 6. And we were in that game. We had a chance to win at the end. That's our best shot.
Problem is, man, I'm being honest. Problem is, man, I'm being real honest when I say this. Last year's offense and this year's offense
is
ain't even close.
Hold on.
It's
And last
a
year's
different
defense
animal.
and this year's defense is totally different too.
So
we
the
both
defense
improved.
used to win championships in 2022. I'm going to take a great offense over a really good defense any day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll also take.
Wait a minute, ain't that how Georgia beat Alabama?
Yeah. Whoa.
What did the defense? Georgia's offense was, they were sustainable, but that defense was.
Good point.
Hey, but you know what though?
I did say 2022.
Hold on.
No, you didn't say 20. You didn't say 20.
I ain't talking about this year.
You're right.
That's an anomaly. That's like 14 guys got drafted off that team. That's an anomaly.
Right.
I think the dude that was back up to the back.
A unicorn defense and a unicorn season.
And hold on. And the way Georgia was able to have a chance against Tennessee, guess what? How many people they put in the box? And they didn't play man to man, not even probably 25% of the time.
Oh, I'm gonna get like y'all. We need to talk. I'm gonna give you my take on I'm concerned about y'all right now, but I'm gonna talk about Tennessee versus Georgia next week and what that means. But that's a different story for another day.
Well, and this Georgia team ain't last year's Georgia team either.
Well,
They don't have the same defense.
Whatever
No,
we
not even
do,
close.
if we have 3 down linemen the whole game, I first of all I'm gonna lose my mind. I've
That's
seen
our
us play.
defense, Carrie.
What?
That's our defense. We're 3-4.
I know.
That-
I just
Carrie, you can't change your scheme in the middle of a week. We run a 3-4 with an extra linebacker that come in that can get 4 men on the line.
Are y'all multiple though? Because you know Bama does that. They're a 3-4 team, but they give you 4 linemen. They give you multiple.
And that's you know what Bama defense is similar to what we had in 2018 with Josh Allen. Josh Allen really played as a 4th down lineman. He was very rarely in coverage. So it's all based on your personnel. But that was a 3-4 because Josh Allen will go in that curl to flat on occasion. But he was typically hand on the ground. This team is a little different. I don't think we have a guy who can put their hand on the ground, but Weaver and Wright does play on the line of scrimmage. They just are not a defensive end, a defensive tackle, a nose tackle. They are at linebackers that get into a 3-4. What's that?
Didn't one of your guys have a pick 6 against Florida? Was that one of your guys you're talking about, the rangy guys, the linebackers, or was that a safety or DB?
Pick 6
Who had the
Florida this year?
Who had the this year? Who had? Yeah.
No, that was Pascal last year, but that wasn't a pick 6. The brand got on his back. He didn't quite make it. That
was our second string backer, or was that
somebody had a pick 6 this year?
Yeah.
No, we haven't had a pick 6 this year.
Yes, you have against Florida.
Mm-mm.
I guarantee you did. Go look at you. You had a pick six against Florida.
Keegan Smith. Who did Keegan Smith have his against?
I knew somebody had one.
Wright
Come on,
had an
man.
interception.
Yeah.
Keegan
Okay,
Smith
that
had a
was-
pick six against somebody.
Yeah, that was
Smith
'cause
had
he
an
thought it was in the
interception.
flat because he had it in the
Was
flat.
it
and he
against
threw
Florida
it back.
though?
Yes.
Was it against Florida?
It was
It was against Florida.
That was at the Swamp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This year.
Jeff's
I know
pulling
I
us
know
on our
more
own
about
team.
Kentucky football than y'all know what about Kentucky football.
You know why, Jeff?
Because y'all worried about
Jeff,
Tell us
we
the
don't-
stats
I
and
know
back
more
it.
about
Oh,
Kentucky
y'all
we don't
football
look in the
than
rearview mirror.
y'all know
About
about
y'all.
Kentucky
Jeff, we
football.
don't look in the rearview mirror. That Florida
That's
game
why
was
y'all
2
go.
years ago.
That's why y'all
We
go.
looking forward. We
He had
looking
a
forward.
65-yard
We don't give a
kick
damn
out
about what happened to Florida.
I like that, Van.
That was a nice attempt to clean that up, but yeah. So, yeah, that was the corner. Yeah, that was a nice play. Yeah, so I thought it was one of the backers because it was out in the flat. I thought he had dropped, but that was a corner. That case, yeah.
Hey.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask Anna first. Carrie, you follow up. Then I'm gonna have the ball boys tell me what they think. Anna, all this talk, and you've been in. I see you on the news all the time, talking good about the Cats. In the first 4 weeks, what? Who wants this? Who wants some of this? But listen, hold on. And people was talking about Georgia. I work Sunday morning sports talk. We talking about Georgia in week 4. Then here come Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
We played a bad game against Ole Miss, so we give them that. But we just laid down in front of South Carolina and said, here, go ahead, have whatever y'all want. Philly's the place. Do you think, are you even concerned? Do you think, and that's why I got the Vol boys going last. Do you think that Tennessee might be off of that? Because Fred already said they're bringing out the black uniform like it's a funeral or something. But we were doing that 3 weeks ago. We were saying, yeah, so what we got to do to beat Georgia? And Georgia's our second to last game.
Are you saying are they not in perspective of what they really are, overhyping themselves? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Is there a possibility
just
that
played
they don't think
Alabama.
we're going to come out and hit them in the mouth?
Maybe. I don't know. They did just play Alabama, so that's I feel like a pretty big statement when the only thing would be catching. And it wouldn't even be a hangover because then they had UT Martin. I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're proven. I think they do what they do. I think at Kentucky, we like to think that we're, they're doing the uniforms for us and stuff. But I really don't think it's a big Kentucky thing. I think they are who they are. I don't think it's because they're scared of Kentucky coming to town.
Carrie, help me.
I don't think they're scared. I don't think they're overlooking us. I think I think, in past people be, oh, Kentucky's coming to town. Well, yeah. No, actually, I think that they're taking this game seriously, very seriously. I really do. I don't think they're scared. I don't think they're necessary. I mean, I think they're trying to hype up the crowd because, after that Alabama game, you got to keep your crowd kind of up. And I think, black uniforms do that, especially you got the orange and black Halloween colors going on there. But yeah, I actually think they're taking this game seriously.
I think it's almost like they are taking it seriously, but I don't know. It's almost like how Mizzou likes to say they're Kentucky's rival. And we're like, okay. I mean, I think they're taking it seriously, but I don't think they are as concerned about Kentucky as we would like to think.
No, I mean, I don't think they're as concerned, but I think they're at least taking it, let's say half serious.
It's not like Vandy. It's not like you're.
Take this one first, Deuce. Let me. You go ahead.
Let me say this. I'm there a lot. I'm in the locker room. I see what's on the walls and those type of things. You don't see anything Georgia, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Mizzou. Who we play that week is all you see. Who we play that week is all you see. It's plastic all over the locker room, all over the meeting rooms, and that's all you get to focus on. You get to focus on the team you got next. That's it. So they're not looking ahead because they're not allowed to. All he's pumping into them is that we got to beat the next team. We got to beat the next team. We got to beat the next team. It's not who we got a few weeks ago, what we did last week. Let's beat the team that's right here in front of us. And that's all they're talking about in that locker room. That's all they're talking about in the meeting rooms, and what's all plastered over our facilities. So all we see this week is Kentucky Blue, Rodriguez, your quarterback. That's what we see. They got those things plastered all over the place. So you have to focus on just that. Now, a few years ago, now our Tennessee fans don't really care too much for changing uniforms. They don't like that too much. This is the first year that they've kind of gotten to the point. It's like, okay, we're winning. Let's do it. A few years ago, we had Lane Kiffin, and I laugh because every time I think about Lane Kiffin, I have to laugh about him being our coach. But a few years ago, when he brought out the all black, he made a lot of people upset. He ticked off a lot of fans. But this way of doing it was different because the players wanted it. And it's so close to Halloween. So the players have always wanted to wear orange and black with a black helmet for Halloween. They've been vying for this for 7-8 years. This coach just had he's winning, so he can do it.
He's got the cachet to do it. Yeah.
And to jump in here really quick, I think the Kentucky Ole Miss loss, I think that really changed how Tennessee's probably perceiving this game. And then the way that LSU beat Ole Miss last weekend, I don't know. It just kind of put things in perspective.
So let me jump in on that. So first of all, I picked Kentucky to beat both Ole Miss and South Carolina. I didn't have to lose in either game. And I just saw someone who was in the comments, they posted about they don't see a lot of respect. I know they want to pull that part out. But I think we're not the 1990s Tennessee Volunteers. We're not coming off of back-to-back successful seasons. We're in no position to overlook anybody. So for half the season, people are just sitting there with one eye open, waiting on the shoe to fall because no one's cocky, confident. I don't care what anybody says about what they see online. People are excited, yes, about the possibilities, but nobody's overlooking anything because we're in no position. We haven't done enough to be like, oh, we're overlooking Kentucky. In the this has been a back and forth for. This isn't however many years in a row we won it. That's long gone. We're past that.
Yes.
The people, the uniforms were picked before the year started, so it's not really. And they didn't want it. There's a whole story behind how they do that. It's no disrespect to Kentucky. It's not a slight to Kentucky or anybody we do. We wore the grays at LSU. It's not a slight. It's just the timing of it. With what Deuce said about the seriousness of it, this is all about who we play next. And we're all around it enough to know, talk to the coaches. And I have a coach who coached when I was there he's at the office, the complex every day. I talk to him during the week, see how we feel. It's all like Deuce, it's all about who we play next. We're not good enough to look past anybody. Done anything to look past anybody. We take Kentucky very, very seriously. And I don't know how much more we can stress that piece of this is the jersey sales the jerseys are about sales and recruiting. The people didn't get over it, but like the kids, it's just the nature of the beast and what we have right now. I like it because people talk about history, but if we have a board that has all of our uniforms for 100 years, we've had black, we've had gray, we've had everything we wear now. It's a part of our fabric and our history. It's not something that we haven't done before. So this is very serious.
Although those black uniforms were like 1900.
But we had them though is the point. It was 1907, I think. But just as far as the Kentucky, no, this isn't. And I like the fact that if we had played this game after Alabama, I would have been even more worried about it right now because coming off that high, coming off the cigar smoke, we needed to get that out of our system. We had to get whoever set that schedule up, it was perfect to have that win, to have that, okay, get this out of our system, maybe get a couple players back that we didn't have. Now, okay, go back and reset. This is the SEC. You know, there's no easy, well, there's a couple, but there's not a lot of easy in the SEC, especially against a ranked team. I'm not going to disrespect you there, but against a ranked team who's giving us trouble. There's nothing about where we are, where you guys are, and what's happened in the last memorable that anybody that played or can remember that leads to us saying, "Oh, we're looking past Kentucky to go play Georgia"? That's that's something
made
that
one comment. I gotta say real quick, man. He said the schedule. Whoever made the schedule. When we first saw that schedule, we were like, "Oh my god, we got to play all those people in a row."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's been. That's just, and I'm not gonna lie. That's just Kentucky fans trying to make us seem like we're something that we're like. Nobody on this side, 90% we understand that this is going to be that type of game, and nobody's looking past Georgia.
No.
It's not.
No.
See, that's the whole point. It's not about fucking Tennessee. It's about us. You know, remember the program where that linebacker was making up shit? Oh, he talking about my mama. You know what I'm saying? All that shit is for us. That jersey, yeah, it could have been scheduled 5 years ago. It could have been scheduled damn when Jeremy first got there. It doesn't matter. As a player, you make up shit to motivate you. And now that black jersey is motivating you. You know what else is motivating you? Like Feinbaum and Herb Street talking about, oh, the Georgia game is going to be tight.
And that lasts for one series.
It doesn't matter. Look, it doesn't matter. Look, we know as players that when we playing somebody, we are giving them the respect. I don't care if it's a high school team. You know every play, every down matters. But you also know when you hear shit on, especially now with social media, when you see anything, it can be out of context. It don't matter. Someone saying something that's praising you, but you're gonna find a way to make that shit. No, they downing us. That's the difference.
You're right.
All this is adding up to, players need something to make them focus just a little bit more on game plan. They need a little bit more to go a little bit harder in practice. They need a little bit more to not be, I don't want to say scared, but you know how you have that anxiety about the team, the guy playing across from you. Now you got a little bit of extra to piss you off. It ain't got nothing to do with Tennessee and respect nothing. It's got to do with us taking that shit and stacking that on that chip we already got. And just that shit's getting bigger and bigger. That's all that is. Tennessee is not disrespecting us. No. But they are disrespecting us. Because I'm going to take that as a player as fucking disrespect. That's all
that's what Michael Jordan thing of taking anything personal.
Yeah.
Anything that I can use as fire and motivation, I'm going to get it. I get it. I definitely get it. You're right about that. Is you use whatever you can pull, especially you going on the road. You can take whatever you can is something to fuel that fire. I get it.
Yep.
This what leads me to this question. And I don't know. I still got to play a couple more lottery tickets. There ain't enough day for me to keep putting lottery tickets in. But I do want to ask this. And we asked Fred again, my brother Fred. And I'm going to ask, and I want y'all to take this in. Because Jeff, I like Jeff, man. I don't know. I ain't met Jeff before. I like Jeff. But hold on. I'm going to go back. We're going to go back to John's question. And Van is before you, Jeff. But finished before me and Fred. So I asked Fred, I said, what was it like when Kentucky was on the schedule for y'all in 19? Okay, you played what? 5, 6, 7, 95, 6, 96, 97, 98. And me and Fred played 96, 97, 98, 99. What was it like on the schedule? And Fred he gave us a good answer, but the way you rubbing your damn face, I don't know if I really want to hear it. Fred gave us an answer I could accept.
I can tell you what it was like in the stands real quick.
Yeah,
It was miserable.
That's what we want to know. Go ahead, Carrie.
I'll share it.
Hold on. Let Carrie. Hold on. I want to know what Carrie thought first.
As a fan, being in the stands for all those games, every single one of them, it was miserable. And there was many of them because I was in the band that I couldn't walk out on. We had to stay, and we were the only ones in the stands, and it sucked.
Carrie, what instrument did you play?
Trombone.
Okay.
So there's my take. It sucked.
So you ready? You ready for my take?
Yeah, come on, Jeff.
So it leads me to is like Coach Foreman always used to. They remember what you do in November. So there was always one thing that we were always business-like, and because we always had bigger aspirations and things we were looking at, but you had to take care of what was in front of you first, because they remember what you do in November was the first thing we'd always hit. Yep. So we were always business-like. We were always you finishing up the season. First of all, it's cold. You don't want to be at practice. You go up to Kentucky, it's cold. You play down here, it's cold. And you got to think, in the 90s, we had won maybe 20 plus straight at that time. I think the streak was at 20 something at that time. But you got it still wasn't something to where, I mean, you guys weren't Vanderbilt. We knew we were. It was still something that you guys had talented players. And again, I said it earlier, you go up to on your senior day, your last game, and everybody's emotional. That's a tough. And we kind of laughed about it, but that's tough to kind of overcome. Nobody wants to get. You guys are going to give everything you have. It's the seniors' last game. It's that's what you're dealing with. But just the way we approached that and looked at it, it was like by that time it was all business. We're trying to. We were either most times just lost to Florida, trying to win this game, hoping they lose a game, or we had already set ourselves up for the SEC championship game. And it's all right. This is the stretch run. This is like playoffs for us. We got to take care of business leading up to this SEC championship game. So it was all. It's not like something that you could just go walk through, because this was our stretch run and getting to something bigger at that point.
And when Hal Mummy came in,
man,
it made you practice a lot harder playing against Kentucky. Hold on, wait a minute. I don't want to get beat by Craig Yeast on a screenplay. You know what I mean? Man, listen. I think we was on an Emmy for that one play that he had, and everybody still knows about it. Like, we still talk about that play. He caught that screen and he ran through all of us to make for a touchdown. And we still laugh about it like, man, Craig, he housed us. But that was what you did not want to happen to you playing against Kentucky. Like, oh, man, listen, I don't want to be on no one's highlights because they're going to run these screens. And these screens mean linemen are coming. You're going to get knocked out if you don't see them, you know?
And the other thing about the 98, I think specifically about, that's when Hal was just like full PlayStation mode. Man. It was like more than 25 on their own, like 20. And he's going for it. We're walking up to the line of scrimmage. We're like, what is it? We're like, what is he doing? Like, what are we out here like? And I felt, I don't want to say felt bad, because that's like, I didn't feel any sympathy. It was like, that's not how the game is played. You're putting your guy, they're out here fighting, because at that time, they had lost the center, had the tragic accident, and guys were fighting. And it's like, you putting them they're already emotional. You put them in a bad spot, in a tough place to play. You're already overmatched. Just give them a chance. Like, nobody really cared for that.
I felt like with that offense he had he played smart as a coach and punted when he needed to punt, it's a different football game. Because you got talent. If you got talent at quarterback, receiver, running back,
everywhere.
I think he put his teams in bad situations when he played against us. How do you go for it on the 25-yard line? Not even past half field.
Hey, Fred said talented running back because he felt sorry for the guy above me. I talked to him earlier. He said they didn't have a talented running back in '98. I'm just saying. Fred capping for Anthony White right now.
I want to hear what Carrie had to say. Mummy didn't punt it because the defense was going to let y'all score again. So his philosophy was, we don't want the defense out there. No, that was his philosophy, honestly. That was his philosophy. He didn't want to put the defense on the field because he knew they would let him score. Go ahead, Carrie.
He said let them score. He said the defense will let them score.
That's what it seemed like sometimes. I will say,
I'm sorry. To be honest, about the running back position, Kentucky was the only team we played. They had a running back that could catch the ball out of the backfield like a receiver. So it wasn't playing a running back all the time. It was playing a guy who was just like a receiver, and you got to cover. And playing safety, that I'm covering slot receivers and tight ends most of the time. But I got a running back that can run a route like a receiver. So it made you play. We didn't look at A. White as a running back. We looked at him like he was another receiver.
Yeah.
Carrie.
I'll also say real quick, just from a fan's perspective, watching this in the stands in the 90s, I will say it was heartbreaking also, because I have a distinct memory of before they enclosed Commonwealth Stadium, hashtag not my Kroger Field. We were right down on the fence there in the end zone, and Billy Jack Haskins was running straight toward us with that separated shoulder. And it was just heartbreaking to watch him just play his heart out and then lose the game. That really.
Billy Jack Haskins, you threw me back when you said that name, man.
Yeah,
Billy,
he was. I have this distinct memory.
Real man, Billy.
I'll never forget him because of that. I'll never forget his name, Billy Jack Haskins.
He had that separated shoulder. He played the whole game. He had that big run. We thought we were going to win, and it didn't happen, and just took that hope and crushed it. Yeah. And that was
Billy
Peyton,
Jack
man.
Haskins. Man.
Billy Jack. You know, I think when I think of Billy Jack, I think, Fat Freddy Kitchens and like it's certain names.
Yeah. Freddy Kitchens.
He said Fat Freddy Kitchens.
It's true.
Have you seen that, man? How he was big when he was playing.
They stuffed his head in that helmet.
Every time we played in Kentucky, it was so doggone cold.
It was cold, man.
Crazy.
Yep. I had to wear a size shoe bigger, a couple pair of socks. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was cold.
I want to. We gave the people a bonus. I know these people are all celebrities and got other things to do. Give me about another 10 minutes and we're going to get out. I do want to ask you this, though. All across the board. I'm going to start with the volunteer boys first. Volunteer guys. And me and Van do this all the time. So if you're ever interested in the show, we're going to hit y'all on the end where y'all can give y'all plugs. But if you ever watch the show, it's just me and Van. So we it's just our opinion. So I love having other opinions. But this is one thing we always do when I want to see how serious Van is about something. Jeff, I know you think Tennessee gonna beat Kentucky. How much you think Kentucky? House, your mortgage? I mean, not your mortgage, your deed, car note, all that. You taking a loan, putting it down? Where you at on how much you think y'all gonna win? Or you just gonna put a smooth $10, 10,000? You gonna call hey mom? I want you to, I need your deed. I'm putting my deed in your deed. Now we trying to double this up. Where you at on how much you think y'all gonna win?
It's funny you mentioned my mom. My mom follows us just as well. Like she knows. Well, I can call her through the years. She knows her hit percentage on when we're gonna win and lose is amazing. Ooh. My mom.
Wait, what'd she say this week? What'd she say this week?
She says we're gonna win, and she's confident that we're gonna win. And like I said, here's just what I think. My quick take on the game. I think it's come on. It's what did you expect, man? So this is the same person that and this is how I answered about Alabama. I was like, people were like, you gonna win? Yeah, we're gonna beat Alabama. I didn't talk junk about it. I didn't get the balls by 50 thing. It's like, nah, I feel like we're gonna win. And I really felt that the whole time. And just like this game, I know this is gonna be going into the half, it's gonna be in question. It's gonna be pretty close, I think, even going into the half. I just think that our offense is I give our offense a puncher's chance against anybody. I've seen enough of them to know that there's not a team that I've seen this year that I think defensively that can do enough to I go into a game like I don't think we can beat. All right, we may not beat them. I haven't seen that yet, so I've seen enough to feel good about that. I think it's going to be a good game at the half, and I just think we're going to just have a little bit too much in the second half and pull away. I still think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a rout, anything like that. 10, 14 points or so, but I think we pull it out.
That's interesting that you think it'll still be a good game at the half, because I feel like if it is, then Kentucky has a fighting chance. But for some reason, I feel like it's not going to be that way.
I do. I really feel like it's. Kentucky is a good team. Like I said, I haven't picked them to lose this year until this game. This is the first game I'll pick them to lose. This is it.
I asked you what you were willing to bet on it.
Oh, what I would bet?
Not so fast, my friend.
I'll bet the house on that.
Okay.
I'll bet the house on that.
The D.
Not so fast, my friend.
Look at the hat. Bucket hat.
I'll bet the house on that.
Okay.
I'm
Fred?
going with Vegas. Vegas says the point spread is over under 62.5.
Oh yeah, that's definitely 62.
With what we've been putting up all year, I say you got to score 40 points to beat us.
You do.
I picked Tennessee to score 42 points and Kentucky to score 20. I'm going to go with Vegas. If you're betting the over-under, I'd probably bet the over because Kentucky will possibly score 24 to 28 points. But I know we'll score at least 40.
We might drop 60 though, just saying. But that's here no there.
The problem is that's the difference between us and y'all. Y'all went through what Notre Dame went through back in the late 80s, early 90s, that when they stopped bringing people in that were smart and just playing football, I asked both of y'all, what are you willing to bet? And y'all
told you the house.
Hey, Jeff, I had to bring you back to that point.
Hold on.
Fred knows how this goes down.
Fred's betting that hat that he's wearing.
I'm betting the hat, the house, the shoes, the car, the
everything you got.
Hey,
you put it all in.
All of it.
If you don't have Balenciagas on, we don't want your shoes. you keep them Nikes on. You keep them Nikes at the crib.
Hey.
I want Balenciaga socks in the shoes, the laces, the whole fit.
Can we do
I don't wear Balenciagas.
Follow up next Monday, next week? Can we do a recap, the game, a review of this?
Actually, you can, because next week's show will be about what happened on this game. We can bring y'all both back.
How about we do the whole
Carrie and Anna want to join?
Now, keep in mind, you may not
our
want to
pocketbook ain't that big. We can't pay them to come back 2 weeks.
Jeff.
What's up, man?
I lost 10 games in a row. Losses dude. Hales ain't gonna bring me down like that, brother.
You sure you want to bring me back after the game? After the game.
We'll bring you back anytime you want to come on. If you want to come in the locker, bro, you are always welcome. Anytime.
Man, I gotta come back here, man. This is a fun environment, man. I like it here.
Yeah.
First of all,
and it smells good.
I like that.
I like it here.
Yeah.
I think everyone has something.
You don't smell good. I said the locker smell good because I clean this mug.
Commonwealth Stadium. Oh, Commonwealth.
Hey, and at Commonwealth, y'all got a good visual locker room too. Come on now, y'all gotta give us the ups on that one.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
There's a locker room in the conference.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why I like, and this gets to what I liked about, and this gets to what I liked about the Vandy. Okay, I'm gonna get to that. What I like about
that
game, we got to ride the bus to Kentucky and back. That's just like taking you back to high school again. So one time
we did too.
You get to ride, but I like.
I didn't know that.
You get to see the Kentucky bluegrass. You get to get this nice little scenery. That bus ride up there and back is good. So I saw the thing about the McDonald's, and they need some Burger King bags or Wendy's or something. They need to start handing out if we're gonna do that. Y'all.
So that's how y'all got this. That's how y'all got this good.
No,
name, image, and likeness.
Everybody who got
everyone who got paid had to leave. They gone.
Everybody who got a McDonald's bag got another bag and left. So
Hendon didn't get a bag. Hendon didn't get a bag.
No, he didn't. He didn't because he wasn't coming
in. Fred, man. Oh, hell no.
Listen,
hey, turn it off, Anthony. Turn it off.
Think about
Put a plug, Anthony. Put a plug.
He's out.
Hendon Hooker was not the starter. The starter was our backup quarterback now.
Milton was
the starting quarterback. Hendon Hooker wasn't even.
Honestly, when I saw Hooker, I was like, why is he like for what? I honestly said because my daughter is at Virginia Tech running track. Like when she said he's coming to UT, I said for what? That's what I said to her. I was like, for what? And that was just honestly.
If you look at Joe Milton, let me tell you something about Joe Milton is 6'5", 240 pounds, and he looked like Leonard Little.
Right. He definitely does.
But Hendon Hooker is Tom Brady's age, and he's got 10 million snaps on his belt. That's why he's playing. Well, he's seen
this is what you're not going to do. This is what you're not. We kept it cordial for a long time. You're not going to talk about our quarterback like that.
Hey, he old, man.
Hey, we won't get his title back. I won't get his title back.
Hey, man, Florida State won the national championship with Chris Winkie. I don't want to hear Chris Winkie's age.
He was 28.
Chris Winkie. So,
hey, but Chris Winkie went on one of those expeditions, one of those Christian relief. He's lucky to play at Vitek. There ain't nothing Christian about Vitek. He played at Vitek and took 8 years of school, and now he's in his down. He's got 2 masters, a doctorate, and now he's playing football still. That's
he just turned 24.
Right.
Blame it on COVID.
COVID's 1 year. That man's 26 years old.
Ben is 25.
He got the same amount of time.
Bennett at Georgia, he's 25.
Yeah,
because hey, if Bennett got like hair missing, he is old.
Ain't nobody saying nothing about Stetson Bennett right now. Nobody cares.
So here's
3 years.
Here's a factoid for y'all. What y'all won the 1998 national championship in January, right? Is that right?
January 4th.
Hendon Hooker was born January 13th, 1998. I'm just saying, 98.
And they gave him a bag. They gave him a bag.
Hey, and they gave him a greasy McDonald's bag full of, you know what, because of it.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, listen.
Don't do that.
Okay, you're right. It's fair now. It's NIL.
No,
he has a bag now.
Yeah, he can get whatever he wants to now.
He has a bag now.
Yeah.
He should have McDonald's endorsement. He ain't got a McDonald's endorsement.
So can I ask? Let me ask. So since we're going that route, let me do this. I see a lot of questions coming in about. I see a lot of jokes coming in about his age. So that's the excuse we're using. Is that the built-in excuse we're going to use? Is that because Hendon's? Oh, not you guys.
I mean, it's not like Will Levis is 19 either.
Right. Will is just 1 year younger. So it ain't like
I was saving that for my Trump card. I was coming out my back pocket with that.
No. We already know that. But for you to have a quarterback older than our quarterback, that's a problem. Because our quarterback old as hell. Now your quarterback is ancient. Because we already know our quarterback's old.
He's
our quarterback. That's a problem.
Hey, all right, listen. I'm gonna ask this honestly, and we're gonna get out of here. Then we're gonna bring y'all back. We're gonna bring y'all back after the game, post game. We'll take our loss. I mean, Van used to taking L's, so we'll
have some special footage for y'all.
Run the show that week. Listen. I want to ask you this real quick. Y'all talking about the quarterback situation. Hendon's good, and I know they're gonna Will Levis because every game we played, they made it a point to make sure Will Levis is top tier quarterback.
I would draft Hendon before I draft him.
Whether he knows it or not. Like every throw you throw, Fred, Will, I'm not bullshitting. Will can throw the ball 90 yards.
Wow.
Does that bother you? Is there any concern?
No.
Because
if you have to throw the ball 90, hold up, dude. If you got to throw the ball 90 yards on one play, which means you throwing a Hail Mary, which means you losing. So no. Because
you bring a safety in the box, and we have a better
ball. And I'm gonna say this. Let me say this. He got a quarterback by the name of Joe Milton, who was our starter last year, and he lost his starting position. He can throw the ball a country mile. He can throw the ball outside of Neyland Stadium all the way to Lexington, but he couldn't hit the side of the ball with it.
Right.
So
no, I ain't worried about you slinging.
I'm not worried about it.
Does he have that? Has he thrown any? Have you seen Hendon Hooker's deep touchdown passes this year? It might not go 80, 90 yards, but when it get there, it look pretty and it land where it's supposed to land.
Well, don't worry about seeing this Saturday.
Hey, our O-line won't give enough time to throw a damn ball 90 yards.
I was gonna say you can't throw a ball 90 yards sitting on your ass.
When you're on your ass.
Hey,
number 6, number 9, number 21, they coming. They coming. They coming.
All right, man. I appreciate all y'all. Before we get out of here, though, before we get out of here. And if y'all, honestly, if y'all brother, y'all got an open invitation anytime.
Yeah.
But specifically next week, if y'all want to come back, because we do
sure.
recap the Tennessee game. Carrie Lewis and the news, we appreciate you, everything you brought to us. Tell everybody who watched this and may enjoy what you have brought to the table. Where can they catch you at and catch your work?
Well, find me on Twitter at GRLS Beer Sports. I love interacting with people about college football. Like I said, not just UK, any and all college football. I watch it all. There's 3 games on tomorrow. There's games on Friday. There's games on Saturday. I watch all of them. And I love it. It's the best sport in the whole entire world. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. It is. College football is the best. You can find my podcast, Girls Beer Sports, drops new episodes every Tuesday. We'll be recording 344 on Sunday, and probably talking a little bit about the Tennessee game. But yeah, everywhere good podcasts are free.
And Carrie is not bullshitting you. She knows about the CVC conference in Northeast Ohio, where I played against Mark Stoops' defense back in 1996, 1994. She knows all about that. Anna,
What's
where
up?
can we find your work at? And these guys may not. Are y'all on Fire Stick? Maybe Jeff and Fred get Fire Stick on the news. No, I'm saying on the news, Lexington News.
Yeah. So we are, if
yeah,
you're local, weekday
I can't get
7:30 on LAX 18, BBN Tonight. If not, catch it all the time on bbntonight.com. We have a lot of good content. But if not, my Twitter is Tarullo Tweets. That's my last name, TARULLOTWEETS. And Twitter is my favorite thing. So follow me.
Yeah, we can actually see. I can get the local Kentucky News on Fire.
Good. Well, check us out.
Yep. We'll do. And just saw the question. I'm committed. I meant to say it before they asked the question. Win or lose, we're back. I'm not just gonna come on and talk if we win. We're gonna come and talk if if it goes the other way. We're gonna come talk about.
And I want the deed of your mom in your house when you come back.
And your Balenciagas.
Fax it to me.
Hold on. We don't want the deed because we don't want to let nobody homeless because we all family here.
No.
We do what we want to keep, so when we can come and go as we please.
You right.
Hey, it's 3 floors over here. You can have one. You can come stay in the basement.
Yes, sir.
You can have the
Yes,
keys.
sir.
Here you go. You can have the keys.
Yes, sir.
So I might pull my Cold World podcast out at the same time. Either do a simul or we'll get you guys on the top. I'm gonna figure that out.
Come on.
We do one next week.
All right. And so where we catch you at, Jeff Coleman? I've only dealt with you on Twitter and YouTube. Where can the people find your work? I know you've been in a little. You gave him a little rest for a little bit.
Yeah, it's on. It's on YouTube. And we're gonna pull it back out. So we'll next time when we come back, we'll provide a link and everything, information on where the new stuff will be located. But yeah, that's where it's at right now.
Fred,
Well,
I know you've been doing it for almost 20 years. Are you actively? Because I see your All-State. Tell us about. And if you got an All-State promo, let's hear the All-State promo.
All-State bit. Tell them, Deuce.
Man, you're in good hands with All-State, baby.
Hey, you're in the right place to talk about hands.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ben was playing DB because he didn't catch a receiver. Don't do that, man.
Hey.
He won't
That's why you were playing.
That's
DB.
a fact. You don't want to know how many. You don't want to know how many picks I dropped, and I had 8. I could have had about 12 or 13 of them up.
If he had hands, he'd be on offense.
Exactly.
I sure wish we had some gloves they have like right now. Man, I can catch anything with those things on. So you can find me at Double Cover 2 on Twitter. Of course, I am an All-State guy. I'm not doing as much media as I once was, but I enjoy doing stuff, whenever I'm invited to come on. This is always fun. Always good to talk good sports with everybody. You guys have been amazing, and I will definitely follow you guys and see your work.
Yep. Let me. I want to add on what Deuce said, man. I appreciate y'all the hospitality, and I love watching the comments pop up, man. They're hilarious. I love fans. You're supposed to be like that about your team. Somebody said you guys don't understand how you hurt us. I feel you. I know the pain on my end. January when my basketballs play Kentucky. I'll be there. May come up to Kentucky. We'll talk about that next week, though. Just want to plant that seed for you. That's all the conversation.
You know, that's the one thing I've never done.
Yep.
I've never been to Ruck.
We gonna
Come on.
we're gonna make it happen. So
You got the people in front of you.
we had a blast. We gonna talk about. Don't threaten me with a good time, man. Because
I know, right?
Hey, y'all need to call Anna for that because I don't know if my credentials is all that good.
Mine aren't either, but come on out.
You got the pull, man. Come on, man.
I gotta say,
Don't act like you ain't got no pull.
I'll go to the nosebleeds. It don't matter. I just want to be in the building. That's one of those. No, seriously, that's like
me at the top of the top. I'll be all right.
That's some iconic, legendary stuff, man. Just being in the building.
So one of my favorite times, I go watch a lot of football games. Lane Kiffin was the head coach who played you guys up in Lexington. That's one of the best times I've ever had to go watch a football game. Like literally, the tailgate was fun, the fans were cool, and then man, it was loud. It was fun in that stadium. It made us look at our stadium like, man, we need to do a little bit more because we watched our list play the music and lights, and it was fun. So I love going to opposing teams and seeing how they do their thing. That was probably one of my best events, going to and watching the game that we played in at an opposing team stadium. That was amazing to me. We talk about it all the time. Myself, Terry Fair, Mark Levine, we all went up for that game, and we always talk about that event that night. That was cool. And it was a night game. Man, that was fun.
Hold up.
There's
a blue streak on my helmet. I wanted to show y'all. It's on here somewhere.
Just hope it's not in the back.
No, hold on. Give me like 2 more. So now that you mentioned that, I do want to tell the story. When I asked like the hardest hit I've ever had in college, it was against Kentucky. It was 96 at home. I was playing defensive end still, and we were running. Deuce, you know this. We were running like max start, and I'm standing up, but I dropped in coverage. So I drop in coverage. I'm like, I used to be a linebacker in college. Here's my time to shine. Like I'm running, I'm getting a deep drop. They throw a pass over in the flat to the sideline. Now the tight end had run, I guess, a seam route, and he peeled back. I started to run to the receiver. I'm like pumping my arms, running, and then the next thing I know, I'm like sideways. He caught my whole ear hole, and I remember I landed on my back on the Kentucky sideline, with everybody looking down at me, and I couldn't hear nothing, couldn't hear a thing. It was like the first quarter, and I tell this about this concussion. This was the first quarter. I woke up around the fourth quarter in the huddle, and I'm looking around at everybody, and I asked Big Cat, like, wow. I'm like, man, what happened? He's like, what are you talking about? I don't remember the first, second, third halftime, none of this. I'm looking at the score, and it's like the fourth quarter. I'm like, what happened? I watched the film. It was scary because I don't remember much of what happened after I took that hit, man. Like, yeah, man. That was like the hardest thing. Who was that tight? I gotta look that tight.
Isaac Curtis was the first person. His first person to run me over as well. He got me that day. I'm telling you, man. Like I never saw him. Like I said, he ran a seam peel back, caught me, and it was like lights out.
I told y'all we didn't like playing against y'all because of the doggone screens, man.
Yeah,
hey,
that was
coming back on you like that. Hey, you better keep your head on the screen.
That was tough.
All right. This has been a great show. We appreciate it, man. We have got a commitment for next week, so we will check with the ladies off air because our budget, Van and I, budgets are really tight.
What budget?
The budget that we paid Anna and Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold up, wait a minute.
McDonald's bag.
We didn't get paid. Wait a minute.
What happened to my McDonald's bag?
No,
y'all that Burger King or Wendy's. Y'all that Burger King or Wendy's.
Cut him off.
But we'll be back next Wednesday, and we're gonna talk either balls or a BBN win. You can catch Carrie where she told you can catch her at. Girls Beer Sports. It's spelled kind of funny, but it's all, if you go to the Locker 411, their links are all on there. Tarullo does tweet That's why our name says Tarullo Tweets.
She tweets too much.
Coleman is gonna bring Cold World back out. Fred gonna come out of woodwork. We might even get a collaboration and just do a SEC, what you call it?
There it is.
Once a week.
Recap.
Do a SEC roundtable once a week. Man,
I'm down.
we appreciate y'all. Head over to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook,
That's it, brother.
Instagram.
He still got MySpace. Head over to his MySpace.
Black Planet.
Black Planet. We on Black Planet.
MySpace. Craig,
Head over there, man. Like, man.
He got Craigslist back page.
eBay.
Hey, they ain't gonna stop talking to. I cut them off. We appreciate y'all. And Ben, we have problems coming on. So if this thing blacks out, you know what to do. We out of here. Peace. Appreciate everybody for joining.
Hey, White Star.